Hey, it's Gary, here for the great fossil rush. That know-it-all. I'm gonna find a Pokemon fossil before Gary even starts digging. That'll show him who the real loser is. Him! Hey, let's listen to the podcast while I get my shovel. Hey, I'm Veronica Taylor.
And I'm Rena Taylor.
And this is
The Trainer's Guide. Today's episode,
Attack of the Prehistoric Pokémon! Hey everybody, we are at episode 43.
Woohoo!
Pretty amazing. I am, of course, in a hotel room. It may sound like I'm in a cave looking for my own fossils. But I wish I were. You know what? I actually think that if I were not an actor, perhaps I would have become an archaeologist. So this really does feed into my love of everything, this episode.
Yeah, you would look good in the outfit.
Oh, thank you.
With the hat
like
and
a little
stuff.
Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Mm-hmm. I love rocks.
Yeah.
I love spelunking. I love caves. And I love fossils. So.
Yeah. It really does check all the boxes for you. I don't think I could be out in the sun for that long, though. I'm so pale, and I hate really being in the heat. So I think my archaeology career would be pretty short. But I did study archaeology in college, so
I know.
I do enjoy it, but I don't know.
You will enjoy it more because of this episode. I am at this moment in Rotterdam. I just finished a wonderful show in Ireland, the Ireland card show in Dublin. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to see relatives and nice to see a lot of people that I know and also, of course, meet new people. But it was a lovely show. So thank you, everyone, for coming out.
It's so exciting. And then you're in Rotterdam and you're kind of traveling all over the place this week, right?
Yeah, it's going to be, I'll give you the highlights next week, but I'll be in Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium. It's going to be crazy. What? A crazy road trip.
I know, that is wild. And I just got back from my trip to Italy, which was really awesome. So I just flew back from Florence, essentially, yesterday. So it's quite the culture shock being home. I had an acai bowl for breakfast today, which is very different from my strict pasta, pizza, and gelato diet. So, it felt good to be back. And
Excellent.
I'm going to have some Chinese food for dinner, I think. So I'm really just like...
You're so New York
I'm just
now.
switching, I'm quitting cold turkey.
You're so flexible and versatile in your food choices.
I know. I'm working on it.
This just reminds me that there's an article this week in the New Yorker. A woman interviews Ina Garten, which I know you would love.
Oh.
But she talks about how she was given the task of slicing the radishes with the mandolin and sliced part of her thumb off. So
Ina or the
it was
interviewer?
The interviewer.
Oh my God.
She said that Ina is really big into making people feel comfortable because once they start cutting things, they always cut something. So everyone be careful with knives.
What?
That's the main takeaway of this.
What?
She says that that's kind of like a rite of passage for people in her kitchen. Yeah, like slicing a bagel and slicing part of their hand or using the mandolin and shaving off something.
Oh my God.
And she's very cheery, but like, oh yeah, that happens. So don't let it happen.
And so
That's
interviewer was mandolining something in Ina's kitchen?
Radishes. Yeah, for the interview, Ina had lined up things to do. They were preparing for a dinner party, actually.
Of course.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
for an interview where you're given tasks and then you still have to ask questions. She must have recorded because she couldn't write it down with the blood dripping everywhere. But anyway,
she writes
I digress.
In blood. That is like so crazy that's Ina's thing, where she's like, oh yeah, everybody cuts themselves in my kitchen.
I know.
Oh,
this is not even part of this, but it just occurred to me. So of course I had to bring it up.
Well, you had me at Ina, so
I know. Well, that's the big takeaway.
Wow.
Be careful with sharp anything.
That's so crazy also because it's crazy that you bring it up. out of the blue because this morning I was watching, TikTok videos or something, and one came up where this guy was being interviewed, and he was saying that he thinks of himself as like a mix of Seth Rogen and Ina Garten, and the interviewer didn't know who Ina was.
Oh,
and he was like a young guy, and anyway, it was really crazy to think of a world in which there's a generation of people that don't know Ina or like Food Network in general. Like I just think back to that time of me being at home and watching all those Food Network shows, and it's just so good. And just to think that people like don't know Jada or the drama, drama with Jada.
Or what about Julia Childs, though, even? I was just looking at Julia Childs' cookbook in this wonderful bookstore here, Donner. But anyway, we can't go on and on about this. We've got to dive into our episode.
I think I might have to do another podcast just about Food Network.
We could just about, and what we're cooking or wishing we were cooking.
Yeah, or just the private lives of Food Network stars. That's what I want to talk about.
Okay, that's later. I was going to say maybe we can start working on our book where we're doing cooking and crafts, and
totally.
Perhaps we could relate them to Pokemon. Anyway, I'm up for doing a book tour at bookstores, so let's discuss. But before we get into that, we are now going to get into Grandpa Canyon.
Grandpa Canyon, which I just realized is like a play on Grand Canyon. I didn't get that.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't get that at all. And I'm watching it the whole time. Old. And they're like, Grandpa Canyon. And I was thinking, what a weird name. And why it's so funny that they name it Grandpa. But I think it's because it's Grand Canyon.
I think it's because it's old.
Okay, that makes sense.
All the rocks are old. And so I don't know. We can take it or leave it or accept both.
Yeah. Also, I think this is so funny. So like I clicked on the episode and we're watching it on Netflix. And so I clicked on the episode, and as the theme song was going, as I'm writing my notes down. So I'm writing down the title, and the title on Netflix said "Attack ... Rehistoric Pokemon." And I thought, wow, what a weird, what a weird title. I wonder how. So I wrote it like that on the top of my paper. And I was trying to think of like attack prehistoric. Like, is it a play on words? And so I really was thinking, wow, well, I can't wait to hear how Ash like says this. And then when the title comes up, it was not that. It was Attack
no, it's not.
Of the Prehistoric Pokemon, which makes so much more sense.
It does.
But anyway, I'm just looking at my notes because
this will be
I wrote it
a rehistoric podcast, actually.
I was just thinking, is there a Pokemon called like Prehistoric or like something that it would be like Attack Prehistoric? I don't know.
No.
There isn't.
I don't think so.
There isn't.
I would love it, but I don't think so.
Yeah, well, I would love it too because my notes would be more organized. But if we do an Instagram post, I'll take a photo of my notes and put it up there.
Good idea. If we do. So we're going on an archaeological dig.
Yes.
Here. And we run into, of course, Gary. Gary, who is like... He hasn't been on for a while.
He's in a full-on, what did you call it?
Prospector. He looks like a Wild West prospector. He looks like Indiana Jones.
Yes.
He looks like anybody who's out to really dig it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, totally. And he tells everybody that there's the great fossil rush is happening. And so everyone's going into the Grandpa Canyon to dig for fossils. And Brock,
there's so many.
Yeah, there's a ton of people. And Brock makes this interesting point of being like, I don't know if this is right. Like, I don't know if it's a good idea to be digging up these things that have been in the ground for so long. And Misty, which I think is funny because Ash before this is like, I'm going to get the most fossils. So before Gary does, blah, 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 blah. And Brock goes, I don't know if that's a good idea. And then Misty kind of backing up Ash a little bit says, well, maybe the fossils have been underground for so long, they want to come up for some air. And then
have some fresh air.
Ash is
He
like,
just slams her.
yeah, he
Maybe
says,
your brain needs some fresh air.
right.
Out of the blue.
I was like, come on, man. She's the one who's kind of trying to help you out here. Anyway,
Exactly.
he's not really capable of being nice to her.
But it does bring up a good point that you have so many people going in and disturbing and destroying the land
Right.
without caring about the destruction.
Yeah.
And so you do need always to think about the ramifications of that.
Yeah.
So
and also,
this is a great
like,
example of destruction. Really.
Right. Because, archaeology is for the point of discovery and things like that. But a lot of archaeologists also, you would approach a site with the knowledge of, okay, are we going to be taking things with us? Do we take stuff out of the site? A lot of stuff, people find them and then leave things where they are so they're not disturbing it. So there is a lot kind of that goes into digging to try not to disturb as much. And this
Plus you
is
have to
for
map
sure just
destroying.
just trying
Yeah.
to find stuff,
You have to map it out with the string so that all of the areas,
Yeah, that's
whatever
true
you
too.
find, there is no string in sight here.
No, there's no boundaries.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Jigglypuff shows up.
Oh yeah, Jigglypuff is here, just trying to
Hanging
sing,
around.
and every time it starts to sing, nobody's there to watch. So it's kind of getting
Right.
upset this whole episode. And then
I love that the marker looks like a microphone,
yeah, I know.
but I never know which it is, but it's always the marker.
But it's a marker microphone. It is
Mr. Marker phone.
It's a little
Mr.
a little
Marker phone.
microphone. Yeah, exactly. It's a microphone
So-
that turns into a marker.
Yes. Okay. Well, I guess
think- yeah,
that's
you're
right. I
right.
need one of those.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need one of those.
I know.
Well,
Well, I have my tiny mic, so that's kind
we
of
both
as
have
good
those.
as it's
I have
going to
mine
get.
with me too.
I can't find mine. I think I know where it is though. Anyway,
Okay.
So then we cut to Gary looking for fossils, and Gary finds one, of course, but it turns out that it's like fossilized Pokemon manure. He thinks it's a brain, fossilized
Like a cow
brain,
patty.
but it's not.
Yeah.
So that's a real blow to the ego.
Which is easily shattered because Gary gets shattered
And
a lot.
easily built
that.
back up with his cheerleaders. I mean, they really just come in right away and help him. So it's good
I
that he
know.
has a good support system.
There's 8 people he has to travel around with.
That's just
Who
a
feeds
lot.
them?
I don't know. Where do
Maybe
they
they
sleep?
just pay as they go. They don't. They don't
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah,
They just cheer.
that's true. That's their job. Their job is cheer.
That's it.
Mhm.
So Team Rocket, of course, is showing up.
Right
Because
away.
they have been planting dynamite,
Mm-hmm.
of all things.
Mm-hmm. I
Thinking
knew
that-
it. I knew
You
it.
did?
I knew they were going to have dynamite. I was like, oh, because right away they're doing the digging and they're talking about disturbing whatever. And I thought, oh my God, Team Rocket is going to have dynamite and like blow it up. I was like, something's going to happen where it blows up. But I didn't know it was going to happen right away.
It's
It was
also
so
kind
crazy.
of classic cartoon
Yeah.
where you have the dynamite, the lit fuse.
Yeah.
You've got, later on you see they become a ball of themselves rolling
Yeah.
down the hill. There's a lot of classic cartoon stuff and another reference to how great they are. They'll become their own stars of a cartoon.
Totally.
So we're, again, breaking the fourth wall. So
Yeah.
there's some really fun stuff in this episode. And yet it's a little bit scary. Okay, so
It is
let's get
scary.
into that. So
Yeah.
they have the dynamite, of course, and they're going to light the fuse. And they do.
Right.
Meowth lights it. They think it's a great idea to blow the whole place up, and then all of the fossils will be revealed,
Right.
which is not how it works.
No, very dangerous.
Mhm.
And more dangerous because all the people who are digging for the fossils are also going to get caught in this blast. And
Right.
so, Ash, Misty, Brock are like, we've got to fix this. So Misty and Brock go to warn the people to get out of the canyon. And Ash and Pikachu run to Team Rocket to try and get it to thwart the plan before the fuse can be lit. But it's already lit. And so Ash goes, oh my gosh. So Squirtle comes out to blow out the fuse, but it can't, its water gun will not hit the fuse, keeps missing. So they start running after the fuse. And this is where the kind of classic vaudeville humor comes in, because then Team Rocket are running after them. And then they all trip, and then they're in a big ball rolling down this like very windy hill until they get to the bottom of it where the dynamite is. And Pikachu, for some reason, in just a moment of pure panic, electric shocks it, thunderbolts the fuse, the dynamite, and there's a gigantic explosion.
Yeah, because big shock.
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
Bad.
That everything blows up, and this giant crevasse, a crack in the earth, opens. They all fall in.
Yeah.
And they get buried.
Yeah.
But it turns out they're in a cave with stalactites and stalagmites in it.
And they go they go, oh, we've been blasted to the moon. And then Meowth is like, oh, what does he say? He goes like, we're as close to the Earth's Christ or something.
Yeah. In the crust.
The Christ. But the way it says it is like the Earth's Christ. But it's the crust. Anyway, it's very funny.
Yes.
It's very funny. And anyway, so they're in this cave down as close to the Earth's crust. Oh, no, he goes the center of the earth or something. But I thought he said it. Anyway.
Center of the earth. Yes.
Anyway, very funny.
Because that's what it will look like, but it'll be very hot.
Yeah.
In the center of the earth.
And this is very blue, so it's cool down there.
Cool and dark.
And then, so then all of a sudden... So they're kind of arguing with each other, like who got who into this mess, blah, blah, blah. And okay, wait, hold on. I have to pause for a moment because I need to talk about something else. On the plane yesterday, I watched the Batman movie, but the Adam West and Burt Ward Batman.
Oh.
So like what was from the 60s or something, but they made a movie of it.
I didn't know that.
And my God.
Probably all of the bad guys, all the villains were in it.
So all the villains come and join forces, and they create this alliance to basically finally get Batman and Robin. Anyway, this movie is amazing. It was so funny and weird, which it's exactly like watching the TV show, but just an hour and a half long TV show. It was so crazy. But in one bit of the movie, there's this bomb, like a classic like bomb with the little fuse at the top.
Right.
And Batman goes in, but the bomb is in this shack where there's a restaurant down. They're on this pier. And so he takes the bomb to try and dispose of it so he can save the people in the restaurant. And so he's holding the bomb above his head, running around this pier. But he keeps, he'll run, and then he's going to dispose of it. And then a group of nuns walk towards him. So he's like,
of course, so
and
he can't
turns
do it,
around,
right,
and then this woman pushing a baby is next to him. Oh, and then he goes to throw it over the side of the pier, and this boat with these two people like in a lover's embrace are there. And he goes, and then he turns to the other side, and there's these baby ducks in the water. Anyway, it seriously goes on for like 5 minutes of him running around. And at one point, he's like, you just can't dispose of a bomb these days. Like,
you're right.
You can't find a good place to get defuse a bomb. Anyway, so funny. And it reminded me of this, where they're chasing after this fuse that's extremely long. And
I know, it's very long.
Just long. And it was the same thing with this. He's holding this bomb, and you just go, wow, it's taking so long. And finally, he does throw it into the water. And luckily, he hides behind a pile of very solid steel bars that help him to,
stay
not
alive,
get hurt by the blast.
Yeah.
But it
amazing.
It was so funny and just
I'm putting that on my list.
Kooky. If you see it, especially on a plane, it's a great plane movie.
I think
thank
it
you,
would be
Delta.
a great Saturday afternoon
It
one,
would be.
too.
It would be very good.
All of the actors are so great.
It was
in that.
so funny. It's so funny. And just like all these little things. And even at one point, this is my last thing. We'll go back to the episode. But like at one point, they're trying to, the best thing is the bad guys are like, they decide to come together and they go, okay, we'll use all of our tactics to get Batman and Robin. And so I know how the best way is to set a trap. And in order to set a trap, we'll kidnap somebody. And who better to kidnap than Bruce Wayne? That like goody two-shoes philanthropist. And so Catwoman, disguised as like a regular gal, basically goes on this date with Bruce Wayne. And it's so funny because they're going to kidnap him. Little do they know that he's Batman. Anyway, so they are the best part of this whole thing is that Bruce and Kitka is her alter ego. They're having drinks at this bar and she has like her drink or whatever. And he has this whole goblet of milk.
Oh.
And they like cheers and then he drinks his milk.
Oh, it's so funny.
Oh my God. It was so funny. Just like, I don't know, little things like that. Anyway, they're successful in capturing him. But then he escapes.
Don't give it away.
That is not even the tip of the iceberg of this movie. There was there's so much happened in this movie. But I just love that with him drinking his milk. Anyway, the fuse,
so we're back
very
to,
comedic. We're in the cave.
Misty and Brock are trying to dig them out. From top side, I guess.
And
I could say.
I can't believe it took Brock so long to get his rock Pokemon to come out and help.
Geodude.
Yes.
Right, with those big arms.
Like, that's just his
kind of
thing.
Throwing the rocks. Yeah,
Brock's whole thing is rocks. And they're like, they spend so long and they're all dirty and like tired. And finally he calls Geodude out to help them with the rocks. Anyway, I thought that was very interesting. But sometimes when you're panicked, he was very stressed. So I can understand not thinking clearly.
I know.
I can get that.
And they even get Officer Jenny to help them. And interestingly, Squirtle is helping.
Yeah.
So Squirtle isn't stuck down
Squirtle was
in the cave
saved
with them. Squirtle's on well, I'm going to say top side. I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, that's good.
But meanwhile, in the cave,
oh my gosh,
we see some extinct Pokemons that have been extinct apparently for tens of thousands of years.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands, they say.
Tens of thousands.
And we see Ammonite, Almastar, Kabuto, and Kabutops.
Yep.
And they are not so happy about these intruders.
I know. They all have bloodshot eyes, which I thought was so funny.
Glowing in the dark, bloodshot.
It was scary.
So that's really bad.
It was scary. And they come out, and I guess we find out that all this digging / the blast of the dynamite woke them up from their tens of thousand year long slumber. Which is, so they're really upset. And so and
we have this classic back and forth chasing, again, just like in Scooby-Doo,
very Scooby-Doo,
where they're just all running around. No song. In
exactly.
Scooby-Doo, there's always a song.
That would have been good, though.
I know. In Ireland, in Dublin, Coldplay, that's the big news. Coldplay has been playing this past weekend. So they probably should have had a Coldplay song. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, just to keep up, we can play one now. Forget it. Let's just keep going. Okay. Everyone can play their own Coldplay in their own time.
Yeah.
And wish that they were in Dublin, seeing them filming.
That would be good.
Music video on the street.
Did they film a music video?
They did. I didn't see them, but others did.
What?
And I know.
Was Dakota Johnson there?
I can't say because I don't know.
Oh, dang.
But people loved the concert. I heard.
Wow.
I heard a stewardess on the plane today talking about it. Everybody's been seeing it. I did not go, but anyway,
they could have played
so
Viva
think of
La
a song.
Vida for the racing part when they're being chased.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because they're talking about I used to rule the world, that kind of stuff, and that could be like from the extinct Pokemon's perspective.
All right, everyone can play that in their own rewatching of the show. Just put that on during.
Yeah, perfect. It's not the right pace, but you could speed it up.
Doesn't matter. So again, Pikachu uses electricity against these extinct Pokemon. It doesn't work.
Kabutops. No.
And then
the big ones.
Charmeleon is not having it. It's laying around with the snot bubble coming
sleeping.
Out. Yeah, resting.
Nothing's working. They're being chased. And then all of a sudden, the extinct Pokemon run away. They leave, everybody alone. And Jesse and James are like, "Ooh, we've been saved, woohoo!" And then all of a sudden, we see this big
First, we hear the sound
rumbling
of something coming,
and then
it reminded me, the 2 astronauts who were on that space shuttle who are stuck up there till now, February.
Yeah.
Because they can't get rescued. The Boeing, whatever spaceship is supposed to rescue them. Anyway, they're hearing a weird sound up there.
What?
Yes, it's a weird kind of pinging, knocking kind of sound. Anyway, so stay tuned, everyone. But I found this to be eerily, much like reality. Eerily like reality. Aerodactyl. Yes. So it's an Aerodactyl.
It's an Aerodactyl.
Coming at them. An extinct flying Pokemon that has sharp fangs and claws because it's a carnivore.
Yeah, which
we never talk about Pokemon eating anything.
Yeah, this is a new thing because Ash is like, what is that? What's a carnivore? So he doesn't even know that. He doesn't. Right. That doesn't even exist. I think this is as a society, the Pokemon world has evolved. They all only eat vegetables, maybe.
That's what we thought.
Because Aerodactyl's, extinct. So
that's right. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone should
grown
eat
out
more
of
plants.
that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Aerodactyl is hunting. He smells blood. Let's just be honest here. And as it's flying around, it knocks Charmeleon over, which is a good blow to its ego also. And then Charmeleon tries to fight it, and it doesn't go well. Gets knocked out right away. And then Aerodactyl takes Ash. And Pikachu and Charmeleon hold onto the tail. And right as, they're flying around, Misty and Brock successfully open up the rocks. And so then Aerodactyl flies through and they get out.
The hole in the cave ceiling has been opened. Right. The other rocks collapse and Aerodactyl flies out with Ash in its claws.
Yeah.
And puts him on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
Or some kind of a crater-looking extinct volcano.
It's like a mountainy thing. Yeah.
Something. It gets stuck up there, or Ash gets stuck up there by Aerodactyl, and Charmeleon is
because Charmeleon's kind of like trying to be intimidating to Aerodactyl, and Aerodactyl makes this face at it, like being like, basically, I don't take you seriously. And Charmeleon gets so upset that it evolves into Charizard.
Right there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Like, what? That was crazy. I was not expecting that.
No, I wasn't either.
And then Charizard, then starts flying.
Flying after Aerodactyl. But more unexpectedly, Jigglypuff finds a stage and starts singing.
Oh, yeah. And before it starts singing, Ash is like, "Oh, Charizard, you evolved for me." And then basically he's like, "Oh, no, you didn't." Because Charizard,
he's so moved.
Flame throws.
He's going, "Oh, I didn't, basically, you do like me. Yeah. Oh, Charizard. Oh." And then he gets burnt, of course, to a crisp with just the eyes showing through the flames. Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, I guess not." And
it's sad.
It is sad, but it doesn't matter because Charizard is still helping out. And so smartly puts its little claws in its ears. Yeah. So that while Jigglypuff sings, it cannot fall asleep.
It's working, which I think is pretty interesting because even in the last Episode, Team Rocket tried to plug their ears and they weren't strong enough. So Charizard Charizard's pretty strong. And so Jigglypuff starts to sing, and Aerodactyl falls asleep, and Ash falls out of its claw, and Charizard catches Ash. They land. Ash tumbles off Charizard, and Aerodactyl falls back into the cave, and all the rocks pile on top of it, sealing it back in. And Ash lands on this mysterious egg.
An egg with little triangles on it. What could it be?
I don't know. Breakfast?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But Ash is sleeping on it, kind of.
Yeah.
And then they all
leave.
they wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, Brock says, do you think it was okay to take it? The egg.
Right.
So both times he's the one who's saying, is this the right thing to do? I mean, it could be lost, the egg, or maybe it needed to stay. Maybe it's a fossil egg.
Who knows where it came from? And also by this point, everybody has come over to the rock pile to kind of see what's going on and to help get Ash out of the cave. And so maybe somebody dropped it, or I don't know what. It's a big egg, so I don't really, but who knows? People lose things all the time. And then, so also
the three of them
Officer
run off
Jenny
saying, I want to raise it. And, so it's kind of a fun moment.
But before that, Officer Jenny makes the point of saying, we're not going to dig anymore in this area. It's too dangerous, and we're not going to disturb this space anymore.
And you think you saw an Aerodactyl, but you really didn't.
Right. I'm like,
so she's
gaslighting.
Yeah, exactly.
And Gary,
we
too,
all know
is
what
like,
we saw.
I thought I saw it, but I didn't. So
the authority person is telling you something, and you have to really question that. This is, I think, the first time that we're dealing with something like this where you have to believe your eyes.
Totally. This is gaslighting right away, you guys.
It just means you can't. When someone says, "Don't tell anyone that that we're going here," or right away that's a red flag. Or someone says, "Oh, you think you just saw that? No, you didn't." That's you have to really, what you've seen, and all of these things. You have to believe yourself. Is the main point.
I know.
And then we find. The end of the show is Team Rocket stuck in the cave with Aerodactyl and all the other extinct Pokemon. It's so, I find that really sad.
It's really scary because they can't get out. Like, how are they going to get out of this cave?
Yeah, I don't know.
The only option would be if Aerodactyl, flew back in, through the rocks. Because I think it would be powerful enough to blast the rocks,
I think it's funny that you're actually thinking about this.
Well,
I'm just saying.
That's what I thought was going to happen before.
That's sad. They'll get out somehow because they always do. But you know what?
But
their boss should come get them.
I think at this point they need a raise or something. They need a vacation or they've just been through a lot. And I feel really bad for them. And even at the end too, when they're like, "Oh, don't wake it up," and then it just kind of goes black, and you just hear like this. It was scary. That was scary.
They go through it.
Yes.
I will say this was another great episode for Team Rocket, and also we had Rachel doing Misty, Jessie, and Jigglypuff. We had another Jigglypuff song. And all of that. So it was pretty great. Jigglypuff, I have always loved because it was her voice, Rachel's voice. Yeah. But what a kooky Pokemon. It does say more than most. And it gets, actually, it's a bit more emotional than, other than Pikachu.
True. That's true. Yeah. It has quite the range for sure.
I also wanted to say a weird coincidence is I have a friend that I know through Twitter. His Twitter handle is Fossil Daddy, and he is a guy who is an actual archaeologist, and he teaches kids in school about science and fossils and all of that. And at some point, we are going to go on a dig together, we three. You're invited So you know that.
Me or the audience?
Oh, no, you, Rena.
Oh, yeah.
And then you, audience, maybe we'll film something.
Yeah.
But we just had this lovely interview, and that was right before this
I know,
episode.
what a great coincidence.
I know, but anyway, he's got some great stuff, and he's so interesting, and he does a lot for, I would say, the, quote, fossil community and also the Pokemon community as well. Yeah. So a terrific guy.
That's pretty amazing.
But anyway.
And I just caught an Aerodactyl on Pokemon Go, so no big deal.
You?
But yeah.
Wow.
A pretty big deal.
Everything's coming together.
I know. I was like, oh my God, I know that Pokemon. I just caught it.
Good thing.
Yeah. Super rare.
I guess this might be a good time for the Poke Wrap Up,
where we hear from you, the Pokemon community.
We asked you to send in your favorite Pokemon memories, stories, and inspirations.
And here is one of this week's.
Hi, Veronica. Hi, Raina. This is Mike from the good old state of Colorado. Thanks for your podcast. I've been listening to it every morning to work. I think it's great. Can't wait till the next episodes. I got a few memories here, but trying to keep the time frame short. First one I remember is when my mom got me Pokemon Blue and Yellow for the Game Boy, and she got me the Game Boy at the same time. Playing that, I also made some friends up the street on the neighborhood I was at, and we would trade the exclusives. I think I would give my friend an Oddish. I think that was exclusive to Blue, and he would trade me back in Ekans, and we had so much fun. And I eventually got Gold and Silver. They just introduced so much cool stuff in those games. I always loved the TV show as well. I just remember it came on. It's so adventurous, so funny, classic Ash humor, and Misty always fighting. It was funny. Last thing I've got is I always remember getting my first Machoke Pokemon card. It's just stuck with me ever since. I don't know why that card particularly, but it might have been the 4 fighting energy symbols on it. I didn't know what they were at the time, and I was just so enamored by it. It was so fun. I still collect today, and I still play today. I still watch the shows today. I always looking for something more, and glad you have this podcast. So thanks again. Catch you all later.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing that great story with us. And we want to hear from all of you.
Email us a short recording or write to us at trainersguidepod@gmail.com.
And try to keep it short, maybe 30 seconds or so we don't have to edit.
Oh, and please include your first name and where you're from.
Well, that about wraps up today's episode of
The Trainer's Guide.
And, as they say, to be continued. We hope that you continue to join us on this journey that is The Trainer's Guide.
As you know, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Wherever you're listening now.
And if you subscribe, comment, and rate the podcast, it helps others find the show and keeps us on the air.
Thank you so much in advance for your generosity and all of your amazing support.
Trainer's Guide is a production of Boom Integrated.
We are co-executive producing this along with
the amazing Adrian Glover
and the incomparable Robin Lai. I'm your host, Veronica Taylor.
And I'm your host, Rena Taylor.
And this has been The Trainer's Guide. We'll see you out there on the road.